Hello, friends, and welcome to Empower You 2 podcast. I'm your host, Natasha Paris, and I'm excited because you are in the building with me. You can be anywhere in the world, but you have chosen to be here with me, and I am so humbled and appreciative. Let me tell you about this show. Each and every single week, we continue to empower you to greatness that is truly going to help you, whether you are a person that have experienced a heartbreak, have gone through a divorce, or have endured levels of trauma of any kind, or you're just a person trying to rebuild their life and themselves, and now you are finally ready to live a life full of abundance, joy, and peace, then this show is for you. So with that said, thank you again for being here. I am extremely grateful. I'm excited to be on this journey with you because together we are empowered for greatness. You ready? Let's go. Hello. It's your girl, Natasha Paris, the mental health therapist expert. I am super excited to be your host on the Empower You 2 podcast because guess what? I have something to say and I hope that you're listening. Well, you tuned in, so that means you are listening. So I hope you are doing well. Let me tell you, it is that time of season where people are getting ill, getting sick, and I feel something coming on right now on me, but I am going to push through just because guess what? We have some things to talk about, and I have an amazing episode for you in season 2, and that episode 109. Yes. Can you believe it? Episode 109. And so the title is How to Protect Your Mind from Negative Self-Talk. I'm going to say that again. How to protect your mind from negative self-talk. Let me say to you that everyone has it. There was a study that came out, and you may have heard me say this on my lives. If you follow me on social media, whether that is Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as Natasha Paris, the number 4 and the letter U, you will find me. Okay. You may have heard me say this about this research study that came out saying that we have close to about 80,000 thoughts. Not a month, not a week, a day, my friends. We have close to about 80,000 thoughts, right? And those thoughts may consist of, oh gosh, I don't like the way my hair looks. Why is she looking at me like that? Oh my goodness, I'm running late. Ooh, he's cute. Oh my goodness, I got so much work to do and so little time. What you looking at? These are the thoughts. Those are all accounted thoughts, right? That makes up about 80,000 thoughts a day. But what was striking about that research study was that out of the 80,000 thoughts, it is said that 70% of those thoughts, if not more, are negative thoughts that we think. And so that speaks volumes because it's like, wait a minute, I have close to about 70% of my thoughts are negative. What do I do about it? Well, let me say this. You are not a machine. There's no one in the closet with a remote control that's controlling your thoughts. Okay. And there are things that you can do about it because, I've often said in my practice as a clinician, I've often told my clients that you have to talk to yourself. And they're like, oh, Miss Saint Amand or Miss Natasha, I don't want to talk to myself. That sounds crazy, quote unquote. And I'm like, well, you talk to yourself anyways. You say all these negative things about yourself and they get quiet. Absolutely. We often say negative things about ourselves, and we are truly our worst critic. We can criticize ourselves so much harder and longer than most people would. And so today's topic is talking about giving you some pointers on how to deal with the negative thoughts that come in your head. Because guess what? It's going to come. And it's unfortunate, right? But you have to train your brain. You have to train your brain and change your thoughts. If you are in a place where you're changing your thoughts and you're changing and training how you receive information, then there is a greater chance of decreasing that 70% to maybe about 30%, and then having the remainder be positive thoughts. So I have talked about this on many occasions, not so much on my podcast, but on my lives. But today I'm going to commit and dedicate some information, 6 points, things that you can do today, because I'm not in the frame of reference that you can do it later, because later may never happen, right? So it's important for you to be in a place where you say, you know what? I receive what she's sharing. I receive what she's putting down, and I'm going to do it today. All right. So walk with me. I hope you have your journal. I hope you have your composition book. I hope you have a pen, paper, your phone ready in the notes section to take some notes, because this is some good stuff. And it has worked for thousands of individuals that I have worked with on a consistent basis. And I have done it on myself. Yes, I have, right? I am no exception to the rule. I have done it on myself, and it makes a huge difference. Okay. The first step, my friends, is to do what? Acknowledge that you are criticizing yourself and that you're having negative self-talk. You have to first say to yourself, okay, what is it that I am doing? Catch yourself in the midst of the negative thought. Like if you have a project that you have to complete for work, do you say, oh, you're so stupid, you can't get it done really quickly? Be very careful about the words that come out of your mouth and that enter your brain, that enter your thought pattern. Because if you're not careful and you're just doing it happenstance, it will take strong roots in your life. And what do I mean by that? If you are not aware of what you're doing and being intentional, it can take strong roots in your life, which means that you will begin to see the life that you are speaking of out of your mouth or thinking of become a reality. You will see that. I used to hear, and often still hear, how when I get with some women, we go out and we're having dinner or we're, just chilling. It might be 1 or 2 women that might say, you know what? I can't wait to be in a relationship, but there's no good men out here. I'm like, wait, hold on. Yes, right now I'm in a fulfilling, loving relationship. Thank God. But I was intentional about it. And I would often stop them in their tracks prior to being in an amazing relationship. I would say, nope, not here, honey, not here. Because guess what? Energy is never lost. It's always transferred. Be careful what you say out of your mouth. The fact that you said that there are no good men out here, they're either in prison or they're gay or they have so much trauma that they really want to, they can't keep a relationship. They're not available to you. They're married. Like the fact that you say all of that, right? It actually becomes a reality. It becomes a reality. It becomes your reality. And I refuse to sit here and say and receive that. I said, I'm quick to tell my girlfriends, I don't receive that. That is not going to happen in my stratosphere. So take that energy somewhere else. Ask any of my girlfriends. I'm quick to say that. Watch what you say out of your mouth. And you have to be mindful. Okay. So acknowledge that. That's the first step. Acknowledge that you are doing it. You're speaking negativity over your life that becomes a reality. And also, it doesn't help your self-esteem and it does not help your worthiness. Yes, speaking negatively. So you have to first acknowledge it. The second, why are you doing it? Ask yourself, why am I talking disparagingly to myself? Why is it that this is something that I do? And you can ask yourself that question and see what comes up. The best way to do that is ask why by writing it down. Say, why do you do that, Natasha? Why do you do that, Lisa? Why do you do that, Jonathan? And see what the pen puts down. Okay. Not that you're being not controlled by your writing, but just start writing. And you will be amazed at what would come out, like what you would write down. And so that is your journey. And that is a question that you should be asking yourself. Why do you do it? And you might look on your paper and it might be because you were constantly told that you were not smart. You were somewhere down the line told that you were not pretty enough, or you don't think that you fit the bill. In other words, you don't look like the cosmopolitan model, right? You don't fit that size of what society says is beautiful, right? You might be a size 14, but you think you need to be a size 6. And so you automatically count yourself out. So begin to write down and begin to think about why you do it. Because if you can acknowledge that you've done it or you're doing it, then you take the next step by asking why. Guess what happens? You now are really uprooting those roots that continue to grow in your life. Because if you know why, then you will be more conscientious about not doing it or not allowing that thing, whatever that thing is, to dictate your life, to dictate your future, to dictate your present, because it is a present. Okay. All right. The third thing is I want you, once you get to the point of acknowledging it, asking why, then I want you to do these following things. I then want you to begin to reframe your thoughts. Replace your thoughts with positive thoughts. You have to. Okay, I know it sounds cliche. You're like, oh, I've heard that before. But these things, my friends, I'm talking to you directly, my friend, are not rocket science. It is very simple, but the question is, do you want to do it? Do you want to change how you see yourself? Because when you change how you see yourself, then you can really begin to look at the world with different glasses. Yes, but you have to start with yourself. That is a must. So when we talk about reframing thoughts, it is when a thought comes to mind, you see it happening, you feel it. Okay. When I say you feel it, you know when you feel sad, but the thought comes first. And so it's important for you to say, I feel and see this thought coming. I'm about to say something negative and let me stop myself. Or you've already said the negative, but let me stop right here and change the course of the thought. And how do you do that? The best way to stop that negative thought from continuing, because what we know for sure is that when you think a negative thought, it can become a snowball. It goes from, I can't do it right. You know what? I've never done anything right. You know, even my kids look at me with disappointment. You know, my parents, when I was a kid, like it just starts. So when you hear and feel and see that thought in your head that says, I didn't do this right, you automatically have to get to a place where you are reframing the thought by stopping the thought. And how do you do that? There are two ways you can do it. You can count backwards, starting at 100 by threes. I know. You're like, oh, wait a minute. How do I do that? You do it because you have to think about it. You have to think about it. What is that number after 100 if it's subtracted by 3, right? It is 97. And then subtract 3 again from 97, right? So the fact that you're going to do it in a difficult manner, not count to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like your mind can do that without even thinking. But when you have to think, then you are literally pressing the brakes on your thoughts. Because in order for you, when you're driving a vehicle, in order for you to go from driving forward to going in reverse, you have to first press on the brake and then switch gears. So the counting backwards by 3s, starting at 100, is you pressing on the brake. Another way is try saying your alphabets backwards, right? A Z, X, Y. You have to think about it. And it's so important for you to step on the brake. And when you are doing that, you only have close to about 3 seconds at the most, if that much, to reframe the thought. And then how do you reframe the thought? It is, I am doing the best that I can, and I'm going to get it right this time. Or, you know what? Okay, I made a mistake this time. Maybe I need to look at it differently. So what would that look like when you're reframing a thought? The negative thought comes in your mind and it says, you can't do anything right. Instead of continuing that thought pattern, you automatically say, oh, wait a minute, 197, and you continue. Or Z, X, Y. Now your mind is not focused on the thought, and it is more a break. And then you're like, you know what? I'll get it done next time. Or this is actually working on my behalf because now it gives me another way of looking at it. Or you're smart, girl. You get it. You'll get it. And then you feel a level of like less heaviness. Because what I know for sure is that when you continue to focus on the negative, your feelings begin to catch up. And then what happens is that your behavior follows. You start to feel depressed. And then guess what you want to do? You want to either scream, yell, be impatient, or just go to sleep and just forget about the rest of the day. And it's only 11 o'clock. My point exactly. So reframing the thought, I needed to be there to stay with you because I wanted you to understand the concept behind reframing your thoughts. Fourth, another thing that you can do to help you understand and actually really change the negative self-talk that you say to yourself is I want you to learn how to meditate. I hope that you are paying attention and really following me on this Empower You 2 podcast, because at the beginning of the week, we have an empowerment meditation session. And so in the empowerment meditation session, I teach you how to meditate, but then I also give you affirmations in which to say out loud or in your spirit that will negate and knock out those thoughts, right? So really being in a place to learn how to meditate, breathing in through your nose and exhaling out through your mouth, like you're blowing a candle, but you're doing it slowly. All right. So the meditation part, just go back to episode 108, right? So episode 108, episode 106, like you'll see it in my Empower You 2 like list, and you just click on it. It's like 15, 20 minutes. It really is. And it will really empower you for better and teach you how to control your breathing. At the same time, it's going to affirm what is a fact, that you are loved, that you are forgiven, that you are absolutely beautiful, that you are worthy of everything that is bestowed upon you. Yes, come on now, let's go. Number 5. I want you to get to a place where you, if you are a prayer girl or a prayer guy, instead of just praying for, like, oh, I need this job, or my car's not working. Lord, I'm praying for a new car. I want you to begin to pray on you. Lay your hands on yourself. There is power in prayer. And you may disagree with me, but if you are truly authentic in your prayer and saying, you know what, God, I just need you to heal my mind. Put your hand on your head. Put your hand on your head and say, I am amazingly, wonderfully made. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. It helps to have some knowledge of scriptures. Okay, so pray on yourself. Please, my friends, because there is power in the tongue. You can speak life or you can speak death. So be in a place where you are praying over your life and praying over yourself and your situation. And the last but not least, number 6, utilize my 3 C's. If you have been listening to my podcast, you know what I say about the 3 C's. Okay, so the first C is, it is important for you to have courage. Have courage to do the things that you know you should be doing, and do it even though you are scared, even though you are hesitant, even though you don't know what's going to happen if you do it. Do the things that will benefit you. Have the courage. Because courage is not the absence of fear. It truly is the presence of fear, but doing it anyway. So have the courage to do what it is that you need to do. And in this instance, acknowledge that you are critical of you, that you often have negative self-talk. Okay? The second C is, I want you to be committed to this. Because let me tell you, my friends, doing this work is not going to completely make those negative self-talks go away. It is a daily task. I know this to be the truth because yes, I have negative thoughts that come into my mind and I have to keep hitting them out of the park. I have to keep counting backwards. I have to say some scriptures that will knock that negative thought down. I have to affirm that I am smart. I have to affirm that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I have to affirm what I know to be a fact, but I have to be consistent with it. That's my third C. I not only have to be committed to doing this, I have to be consistent with doing it. So, my friends, I want you to know that talking negative to yourself is something that we all do. It is not unusual to do it. However, it takes a dedicated individual like yourself to put it to a stop, because we know that if you continue to talk negatively about yourself, it's going to decrease your self-esteem, your confidence, and ultimately your worth, how you feel about yourself. And so what I am endorsing you today to do is make a change. Oh, I wish I had Michael Jackson in the background singing. Make a change and look at the man or woman in the mirror and decide that you want different. And so with that said, I am super excited about having you as my guest on this Empower You 2 podcast. And so with that said, let's just do a quick recap, right? How to protect your mind from negative self-talk. And what is it that you're supposed to do? First, you have to acknowledge it. Second, you need to question why. 3, reframe your thoughts. 4, practice meditation. 5, pray over yourself. 6, my 3 C's. Come on now. Have the courage, be committed, and be consistent. So I hope that this episode 109 really resonated with you and you were able to really gain some information from this, because this is an opportunity for me to share what has worked for me and the thousands of individuals that I have worked with in my past 24 years of doing this work, emotional healing, supportive, and also training. So, my friends, look, if you enjoyed this episode, what I want you to do is do 3 things. I want you to first hit that 5-star button on your favorite platform. Second, I want you to, come on now, I want you to write how it resonated for you. And then third, sharing is caring. Go ahead and share this episode and the many others with someone that you truly believe can benefit. Or not necessarily what you think, because lots of people are suffering and you don't know who they might be. So just share it. Sharing is caring. So with that said, you know how I often close. I say, look, I want you to be what? Empowered for greatness, because without greatness, there's no you. And without you, come on now, there's no greatness. So with that said, bye.